Marchand took a run at Bedard, and you know it.
Come off it. Bedard started it. Besides, he's from Vancouver.
What does that mean?
It means he's a born and bred loser. Have fun sucking for the next 20 years. That is it. Oh, yeah?
Bring it on!
Guys, it's the first game of the season. Is it really that big of a deal?
Yeah?
Yeah? I agree.
Low-quality fans of a high-quality Bruins team, that is a dub! Game 1 of the season. Did someone say 82-0? Was that me? I'm not saying, I'm just kind of saying. The only team in NHL history to beat Connor Bedard. I might bleep out his name every time I say it going forward. I'm not going to do it. That's just a lot of work, and it's 10:30 p.m. and I have to wake up at 5 a.m. But how awfully sick are you of hearing that name? I get it. He's the next phenom, and the NHL is doing what they're supposed to do, is advertise their stars. They're finally doing some of that. They announced every time he got on the ice. Every time they went, oh, and here he comes back, like over and over. Every time he did anything, it was obnoxious. I am so glad we're not playing them again for a couple of weeks, at least. Whoo! But let's not be so negative. That's a big fat dub. I don't care if it's against the Blackhawks. It could be against the Sharks for all I care. It's a dub against a professional hockey team. First game of the season, where it's a lot like the first game of the season for the NFL, where you have no idea if it means anything at all. Like, we could have been playing the Golden Knights, and we could have won 8-1, and you'd still be like, I don't know if that actually means they're good or they're bad or it's too early. But it's fun to talk about. They were coming off of the second night of a back-to-back where they had the Penguins, and they beat the Penguins. Not a good look for the Penguins. But obviously it is the Connor Bedard show at this point. It's all they talk about during that game. Ryan Donato, though, looked pretty solid. So good for him. Good for the kid. Soderblom. I guess it's Soderblom. That's how they're pronouncing it, so I'm going to default to that. He's in net for the Chicago Blackhawks. .894 save percentage last year. .345 goals allowed average. That is, in the medical field, what we call butt cheeks. That's fucked. That's really bad. He was phenomenal tonight. What a glorious game by the guy. That was fun to watch. There was a big ceremony for the start of the Centennial season, I should say, for the Bruins. There were guys like Eddie Johnston and Ken Hodge, just a whole list here of guys. Derek Sanderson was here. Cheevers was here. Thornton. Tim Thomas. Tim Thomas showed up. How that? Tuukka Rask was there. Krejci, Bergeron, Chara, obviously. We had relatives of Schmidt and Clapper and Shore and Hitchman. There was all sorts of stuff going around. Obviously, they had video tributes to a couple guys as well. I believe they had Willie O'Ree, they had Bork, they had Orr, Esposito, I think they had in there. The Chief was in there. So just every name you can really rattle off, they honored in some way, shape, or form. I believe the Centennial team comes out tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make a video for that. It gets a little squirrely scheduling-wise, but just in case, hopefully I do. Like, comment, subscribe. Nailed it. Didn't try to trick you this time. Our lines are as reported in the previous video, but I'll say them anyway. Marchand, Coyle, DeBrusk, JVR, Zacha, Pasternak, Frederick, Patra. Geeky, Patra. That's how he pronounces his name, Patra. That's how we're going to pronounce it. Lucic, Beecher, Lauko, Grizz, Mack, Lindholm, Carlo, Forbort, Shattenkirk, Olmark. We'll talk about how people did at the end. But let's talk about this game, shall we? Puck drops! And it's frantic. And a lot of the game was pretty frantic. For the first 3 minutes, it feels like each side had at least 2 excellent scoring chances and at least 1 horrible turnover that probably led to one of the scoring chances. But at 2:51 in, Kaiser is going to go for cross-checking. We're going to go to the power play. And the power play, stop me if you've heard this before, is awful. Wow, did it look bad. I always find it weird when you come out of preseason and the training camp and everything like that. This is the most practice you basically get all year outside of games. Especially, I mean, you look at last year, which last year obviously a little bit of an anomaly, but Monty didn't really have the team practice all that much. Days off aplenty. You had weeks of everybody in the building every day. Practice, scrimmages, preseason games, boom. It's weird to me when special teams look completely disjointed after that. It just feels like they should have some sort of rhythm to them coming out of that kind of camp. I don't know. That's just me. Power play, bad. 5:37 in, and tell me you didn't know, because you'd be lying. You knew it was going to be us. It could be 3 months from now, our first game against the Blackhawks. Bedard would have waited 3 months to score his first goal. He would have had 60 assists at that point, but he would have waited and waited and waited, and then he would have scored it against us, because it was always going to be against us. It was a nice give and go by the Hawks to get the puck down to Ullmark's left. And unfortunately, McAvoy joins Grizz on that side of the net, fighting in a scrum for the puck. And Bedard is just behind the net, scoops the puck up as it squeaks out of the grouping, and swiftly, quickly, beautifully dunks this. Just chases Ullmark around the net, dunks it against the post. Ullmark can't catch up. It's 1-0. And my Twitter feed was officially useless, because for about 6 miles, it was just that goal. That's it. I'm happy for the kid, but are we overdoing it just a smidge? A smidge. First NHL goal, everyone loses their mind. Good for him. Good for him. The period will continue in a similar fashion, where it feels kind of like a track meet. Neither goalie having to make huge saves yet, but there were a lot of chances. A lot of net misses, too. And then, with 8:48 left, if you said you didn't know, you'd be lying. The first goal of the season, and who's involved in it? Patra. Because of course he is. He takes the offensive zone down the left wall, screams to a halt, just to lose his man, turns, surveys the crowd, and diagonal to the right point, beautiful tape-to-tape pass to Carlo. Carlo winds up, fires, there's a tip, winds up. I think this was actually a wrist shot. I think it's a wrist shot with purpose. Anyway, Carlo fires it on net. Frederick is there to get the tip. It beats Soderblom, and it's a 1-1 game. Little over halfway through the first period. In my head, I was like, good. There's no way the Blackhawks are scoring again. And I was correct, but not in the way I thought I was, because they certainly had a lot of chances after that. 5:02 left. Lindholm clears it over the glass. We're going to the penalty kill. Penalty kill looked really solid. It really, really did. I thought it was pretty clear, though, that Wall Forbort was on the penalty kill. Teams attack his side. They genuinely do, because they know he's not that mobile, and their best chances, I think, came against his side of the ice. Feels like I'm nitpicking. That's just something that kind of spoke to me. I don't know. We kill it. At the very end of it, Ullmark does have to make a huge save. It's a shot from the left circle. It bounces off his chest, falls in front of a scrum, and Bedard comes in, grabs it. Doesn't look like Ullmark actually sees it, but right when it looks like Bedard's going to dunk this, Ullmark swings that left leg out and kicks it away. It was gorgeous, and it was exactly what we're used to seeing from Ullmark. Good to see him already playing that kind of game. And we're going to go to the second, and it's 1-1, which is fine. This game was bound to be weird. I wasn't expecting just to smoke them, even though my prediction was a 5-2 win, which did not happen. Second period starts, and there's bad news right in the beginning. Taylor Hall takes an awkward hit early. Well, I believe it was his arm, which was the issue, and doesn't return for the rest of the game. So hopefully it's nothing major. 3:22 in, fourth line goes to work again. We didn't even mention them yet, but the fourth line, Beecher, Lauko, Lucic, and even when JVR was sent down to the fourth line, we'll get there. Even when he was sent down, that Beecher-Lauko combination is awesome. They move, man. That is a really strong forechecking fourth line. Anyway, they were really good. They drew a penalty this time. It's Lauko after a long shift in the offensive zone. Lauko gets hooked by Kaiser once again. Go to the power play. And again, the power play looks really bad. But this time, the second unit comes out midway through the power play, and they get 4 shots on net. Moving the puck well. Shattenkirk looked really good on it. Nice. First unit, not good though. Bedard trips Marchand shortly after that. 7:48 in, and we're going to go to the power play again. And for the second power play in a row, the first unit is held to 0 shots. Come on. That's 3 power plays in this game, and at least the first unit looks bad in all of them. It's not that big of a deal right now. It's early. We're still building chemistry and stuff. I just find it weird that there's no flow. It's completely disjointed. That's just weird to me. 9:59 left. DeBrusk is going to go for a lazy tripping call. He just swipes at a guy. I didn't love DeBrusk's game, but I'm not really worried about that at all. We're going to go to the penalty kill. We kill it pretty easily. 6:51 left. Pasta. Brilliant. Invisible up to this point. And I mean invisible. But as we know with Pasta, it just takes that one moment. It's a strong neutral zone play. I think Geeky is the one who puts the pressure on to force this turnover. But Tenorti, you might remember Jared Tenorti, he tries to escape some pressure by passing it through Lucic. And it was a hard pass. Lucic makes 0 mistake. He immediately settles that puck, sees Pasta on his left side, flings it to Pasta, who screeches down the left side. He gets into the circle. And this wasn't a powerful shot. I mean, it's pretty powerful. But it was just a wrister that was perfectly placed under the glove, but above the pad, squeaks through, and it's 2-1, and that's your game-winning goal! Not too shabby. We're going to move on. Last 5 minutes of the period, Lucic is deploying with the top line. Yeah. Him, Pasta, and Zacha. I thought Lucic was very effective in his role. Well, this is one of the game notes. I thought Lucic was really, really effective in his role, and more effective than I expected. I do not need him in the top 6 because he was not keeping up. Physically wasn't keeping up. But, that being said, he was good this game. I don't want that to come off as a real criticism to him. He just doesn't belong on a line with Zacha and Pasternak. That's all I'm saying. Third period, pretty quickly moving. 20 seconds in, Lucic is going to go for holding. That's going to happen. He's going to take some penalties. We're going to go on the penalty kill. We kill it. 3:12 in. Beecher hits Gutman from behind. This should have been a penalty. And it was, sort of. Dickinson jumps in to fight Beecher. They fight. I'm going to give this one to Dickinson. He won that one. So, Beecher is going to get a boarding call and a fighting call. So 2 minutes for boarding, 5 minutes for fighting. Dickinson gets a 2-minute roughing call, a 5-minute fighting call, and a 10-minute misconduct. Bringing them down to 10 forwards, first of all, because Taylor Hall's already injured. Also, what? I thought this should have led to a power play for the Blackhawks. Instead, it just ends up staying 5-on-5. Really weird to me. Anyway, 5 minutes left. A miscue leads to a Bedard breakaway. I've said the name too much. I hate it. Lindholm sprawls out. Olmark makes the save awkwardly. Looks like Bedard went 5-hole, and he barely caught it. And then he trips over Lindholm and goes hard into the boards and was holding his shoulder. I think everyone held their breath there. Because I do not want to see this kid's rookie campaign disrupted by an injury. Luckily, he skates away, seems to be doing well. Shortly after that, Pasta will get the empty netter. Marchand had a chance to get it for himself, but he passed it to Pasta. It is 3-1. That's your final score. That is a dub! 82-0. Let's do this. Game notes. Lucic, very effective. Very good in his role. I don't want to take anything away from that. I really don't. I've been so critical of him. I've been so doubtful of him. So if he can continue this kind of play, great. I would worry about him in a playoff series with his foot speed and everything. But right now, regular season, he might be exactly what we need. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe by the end of the season, I'm like, you can't take Lucic out of this lineup. I'm open to it. He is the slowest man on the planet on skates. But he's effective. What can you do? Soderblom was fantastic, and that's going to overshadow Olmark. Olmark was very, very good as well, and he deserves that shout-out. Frederick looked way better than in the preseason. He scored the first goal. Patra and Beecher. Beecher clearly staying. No doubt about it. Patra had a face-off percentage north of 60%, I believe, and was extremely effective. He is patient. He's clever. He's winning board battles. If there was a one-game sample before he got sent down, he just earned himself a second game. If we're going to go game by game like that, Patra wasn't our best player tonight. But if you ask me who our best were, I get to his name probably 5th or 6th, which for a 19-year-old on the third line, pretty fucking good. Might be earlier than 5th, actually. I'm not going to do it. Because I'm going to feel silly if I do it. He was really good. He showed that he can play at an NHL level for an entire game. It's not a bad thing to say, I don't have a lot of confidence in a 19-year-old being able to play against these full-grown bodies and be able to stick in the league, unless he's a generational talent. That's okay to say. Now, obviously, it doesn't always take a generational talent, but it's okay to say that. I didn't expect him to look this effective when the stakes got this high. And here he is. He just keeps doing it. Anyway, he's definitely earned himself another go. I thought Coyle was lackluster, and I'm a little worried. But obviously it's first game, so again, I'm not worried at all. That's how that works. JVR, also, like a little worried, but not really worried at all. He was really ineffective. Geeky, I can't tell if he's quietly doing things really well, or if he's not doing enough. And I need more time with that. I know that sounds silly, because like my job's to watch the game and report on it, but I just feel like I'm never getting mad at Geeky, but I'm also never like, oh, nice play, you know? I'm really kind of stuck in the middle there. I don't notice him a lot. I don't know. The Lucic, Beecher, Lauko line, I don't want him to split that lineup. Leave it alone. It looked really good. Leave it alone. The fourth line's often gets scrambled, but leave it alone right now. It was so effective. Grzelcyk was not good. Really, really not good. I'm not worried, but really not good. Mac looked fine. Lindholm looked really bad to start, but then looked really, really good at the end. Carlo was awesome defensively. He was fantastic. And Shattenkirk, I actually thought turned some heads. Solid. I'm not going to really mention Forbort. I just don't think he did that much. But, hey, actually, no. That's the perfect way to mention him. Forbort, I didn't mention much during this game, which is exactly what you want from a third-pairing defensive defenseman. Good. Good. I'll take it. I'm happy. This is a win in Game 1. I know you can downplay it and say it was against the Blackhawks, but imagine if we had lost. Imagine how much you would care then. A win's a win. We take those. We need to start this first month hot because it's a cupcake schedule to start, and then things get a little more rocky. Great start. 82-0. Go Bees. Go Bees!